here, we are statutory county courts at law, which means we're courts of general jurisdiction. So the 5 county courts at law that are here can essentially hear anything. We can hear civil, criminal, probate. We also have mental health commitments. We do have some specialty courts as well. So we can do a little bit of everything. We do kind of just limit ourselves to a couple, let's say 2 or 3 different areas so that it's not too much, because as you can imagine, every year the law changes, and so we have to keep up with all the different law changes. But positive to being able to be courts of general jurisdiction is that we can help each other out. So, for instance, myself, what I do, I have criminal jurisdiction, what I'm assigned. So I do criminal misdemeanor cases. I used to do civil, so I'm finishing all of that up because when we had our Court 5 that was developed, so that's Judge Ward, he was assigned all these civil cases, the new filed civil cases. So I'm kind of finishing up all of my civil jurisdiction cases. But I do have 2 specialty courts. I have a veterans treatment court and also a DWI drug court. They are criminal cases, so essentially what that means is that if they are arrested for a criminal case, they have the ability to apply for one of these 2 courts, and I'll kind of get into that with you here in just a minute as far as what those 2 courts entail. But I also handle the mental commitment cases, and those types of cases are essentially civil in nature. They are basically what we look at is whether the person is a danger to themselves or others, or they are deteriorating, not able to handle basic health needs, so they can't take care of themselves as far as brushing their hair, their basic needs. And so we have hearings on that to determine whether they need to be placed in Rock Springs or Georgetown Behavioral Hospital, which is 2 of our hospitals here in Williamson County, to help them. We also do forced medication hearings, which means that if they are not taking their medication, and let's say they have been found to be incompetent, then we may need to have a hearing to determine whether they need to have medication ordered for them if they are not at capacity to make that determination themselves, and they are refusing that medication. So we do those hearings as well. So the other judges, so we have family as well, I should say. I think I didn't say that. So the county courts do have family jurisdiction, and so we have 3 judges that handle that. They have CPS, so one of our county judges, Judge Hoffer, does CPS, which is Child Protective Service cases, which is, as you can imagine, it's something that is probably near and dear to her heart. I know she talks about it quite a bit, and it is very hard to deal with at times. Judge Arnold does criminal cases, and he also has family cases. And then Judge McMaster, he handles probate, which basically you're talking about wills and estates, those types of matters when someone passes away, how that is taken care of at that point. And then he also has a family jurisdiction on cases. He was nice enough to give me the mental health commitments a couple of years ago. So, but he used to do that as well. Judge Ward, our newest judge, he's been here, I think, for 2 years or maybe a little bit older, or a little bit longer, I should say. He does the civil cases. He has criminal jurisdiction as well. You see how it's hard to keep up with everybody. But we do help each other out, which is a good thing. You saw the JP cases, or the municipal cases, that's traffic offenses usually. They have the ability to appeal. So when they appeal, it comes to us. So it comes to the county courts. And typically when that happens, it's a rotating basis, meaning that it gets assigned to the courts that handle the criminal cases. So that would be either myself, Judge Arnold, or Judge Ward. So we get those cases. Judge Ward also does the JP appeals as far as evictions. So If it's a landlord-tenant matter, he handles all of those. That is a rite of passage, we like to say. So when I got here, I handled them for 2 years. Judge McMaster had that before I did, and it is very time intensive because when they get filed up here, you have to set that within about 10 days. So you have to set those hearings, you have to hear them. Mental commitments as well. Those have to be heard pretty quickly. So there's some cases that it's not something that you can wait on. You have to get those heard, and there's not a continuance that you can do a continuance like on the mental health commitments. You can do that, but you only get one, and it has to be done so within 30 days, even when you have a commitment there. So some things are very time sensitive. So I'm going to talk to you about the specialty courts. I have them on the county level. I know the districts have specialty courts as well, and Judge McMiller may talk to you about that a little bit. I did bring brochures, so if you want more information about them, you can take that with you. Do we have any veterans here? Okay, so we have a Veterans Treatment Court. It's been in existence since 2015. I've been here for 9 years now. I've been presiding over that court for that amount of time. We have 2 tracks, so we have a 2 p.m. and a 4 p.m. docket. Basically, you can apply for that court. You do not have to have an attorney. I will tell you that. It does help to kind of help you through that process. As you can imagine, a lot of our veterans some of them don't like the VA, right? So you do not have to have VA services. The VA is involved in our court. We have a Veterans Justice Outreach Officer on our staff, but we do have individualized treatment. So it is a treatment court, but it's also an accountability court. So they've committed a criminal offense. They can apply for the court. It's no less than 12 months. Some get extended because they need more services. And it is wraparound services. So when I say that, I mean housing, transportation, trying to help them get their disability set up for them. Am I going over? Is that what that means? Sorry, just making sure. Treatment and all those services that they need help with. But it is so much more than just saying we're going to put you into one thing. It's not cookie cutter. It's basically looking at what is their needs and what is going to be best for them. So if the VA is not going to be what is good for them, if it's not something they want to go towards, we'll look at private services in the community. We also have Bluebonnet Trails, which is our local mental health authority. Who they're on our staff as well, so they will help us with a lot of individualized treatment services, groups we have set up. We also have peer services, so we have mentors. So I asked about veterans in our audience here because we do have mentors that come in that are veterans that will provide support and services in that way. So I'm going to leave these up here when I leave so you can look at this because we're always looking for mentors. We have a DWI drug court program as well. It's no less than 12 months. So with the DWI drug court program, it does not have to be a subsequent offense. It is you're arrested for a DWI, you can apply to be in this program. Again, it is treatment-based, but it's also accountability. So you're going to be put into groups. It's going to be individualized treatment. There are also 2 tracks. We have a 4 p.m. and a 4:30 program or 4:30 docket. The treatment, it's going to be you're meeting every week when you first come in with a counselor. You will be coming to court. You will be meeting with a probation officer. You will also be you're monitoring. It's 2 times a week at minimum to be drug tested. There's going to be a SCRAM device, which is alcohol monitoring 24/7. And then you're also going to have a device on your vehicle, or if you don't have a vehicle, you will have a portable device that you blow into. So it's very much public safety centered. That's all that monitoring, and then it's also treatment-based. So the programs are not easy, I will tell you, but the whole purpose of the programs are to make you more productive so that you are not cycling back through the justice system. And they're very successful. I'll tell you, with the Veterans Treatment Court, our success rate is about 92%. And then with the DWI Drug Court program, it's about 87%. So they're very successful. And actually, we're above national averages and state averages on our success rate. And that's because we keep up with it, and I make all of our staff go to trainings. So that's every year. And they're always changing something. We just got back from training just about 2 weeks ago, and I will tell you there are changes again that we have to sit down and go through and change our policies and procedures on and implement those. So that's why I say it's very important that we keep up with that. I'm going to leave that one for you as well so you know what we're looking at. As far as referrals to the program, this is why I'm leaving them to you, because I will have people in the community refer someone that's been arrested or charged with an offense and say, I've heard about this program. You might want to apply for it. It's coming from attorneys. It's coming from judges. It's coming from prior participants. So it doesn't have to be just from the person that's arrested seeing it and applying. There's so many different ways for a referral to come in. And a lot of times people don't know about these programs. So if you think, hey, this might be something that I know someone that's been arrested, I know someone that's been charged with this, you might want to take it. And if you are ever interested in volunteering or getting more information, please come to our courts, because it's very interesting to see the differences in a regular docket, because it's fast-paced, right, in a regular criminal docket. And there's not a whole lot of time to stop and say, what's going on with your life? What's your family? What brought you here? And develop a relationship with that person. And that's the difference between specialty courts, because you are developing a relationship with that participant over a 12-month period. And that's the most successful part of a specialty court, is the relationship with the judge, because a lot of people, they don't have supportive services anymore. They don't have family. They don't have friends, because they've lost all of those people because of their addictions. So when they develop that relationship with the judge over time, they usually look at that judge as a role model, as, I hate to say it, but a mother. Okay, a mother figure, which I am old enough to be a lot of their mothers, unfortunately. But that's the type of relationship that usually gets developed, and they look up to that person, and they want to make that person proud, right? So usually it's a lot of when there are slip-ups and they have mistakes happen, it's me telling them, I'm really disappointed in you. So it's motivational interviewing in the sense of, how did this happen? How are you going to get back on track? And it's very effective because of that type of process that we have in the court. And you can't do that in a regular court setting. So I suggest to you, if you can, come and watch sometime. And you'll see the differences with these types of courts that we have. I don't know if you wanted me, I don't know where Connie went, but I don't know if, oh, you're in the back.
I can take some questions.
I didn't know if you wanted me to answer anything.
So are all the courts open for public?
They are, yes, sir. So y'all can walk in any time. Yes, sir.
Are you seeing an increase, well, our population in Williamson County is growing. Are you seeing an increase in all the courts and their dockets, and how you're handling that?
There's an increase on the criminal side. There's an increase in assault of offenses, DWI cases. There is an increase in that too. I will tell you the biggest increase is mental health. So there's a huge increase in the amount of mental health cases we have, which also factors into assault and also DWIs. Yes, sir.
Question. How do you balance your life with your job and family?
Well, you have to make a conscious decision to leave work here. So rarely do I take something home unless I just have to work on it, because for me, I have a 15-year-old, he's about to be 16, and I am married, so I have to leave it here so that I can focus on my family and make that time for them. So I get here early in the morning. I'm usually here 8 o'clock, sometimes a little bit earlier, and then I stay later. Our specialty courts, like the DWI court, it runs after 5 p.m., and sometimes the Veterans Court does as well. So, yes?
When they successfully complete the DWI program, is that taken off their record?
So, the Veterans Court has the option to, if they go through a diversion track, meaning that it's bond amendments, so they didn't actually get convicted of the charge. It's once they complete it successfully, there's a statute that says if it's diverted, then they have to expunge the record of the state. So the state has to do it if it goes through that type of track. But we have both, so they could be placed on a formal probation track, and then that doesn't mean that you get an expungement. On DWI court, if you're asking me about that, we do have diversion, deferred adjudication probation on the misdemeanor side, which means that yes, they could potentially try to non-disclose it down the road. It's not an expungement though. And then there is a provision that even if you get a final conviction, you potentially, depending on circumstances, could apply to, again, seal. It's not the same thing as getting it completely off your record. Mm-hmm.
Do you all use any metrics to gauge how you're doing?
I do. That's the only way you can determine how your court is successful. So we keep up with all the statistical information, demographics. On the Veterans Court side, we cannot keep, if the case gets expunged, we have to destroy everything. That's the law. What we put in our paperwork is that you're allowing us to keep the demographical information for purposes of the program so we know if you ever apply again. So I keep that if it's been expunged. We look at everything to determine, did they get housing if they didn't have it when they came in? Did they get employment if they didn't have it? Did they, was their treatment successful? We set up an aftercare plan for them on their treatment to have something going forward once they leave. We keep all of that information. We also keep, where they were at when they were in the program as far as did they have violations of testing positive for certain things, all kinds of information, because we have software to keep up with all of that, sir.
From a system perspective, though, do they know, that court is overloaded, we need to do something there? Or there's a trend that's happening in the state with this kind of crime or whatever, we need to address that?
As far as, you mean trying to get further services for just any court or a specialty
Someone who
court?
looks at the entire court system and says, how is our justice system working?
All that gets reported to the OCA, and so
OCA?
The Office of Court Administration, I'm sorry, sir. Sorry. So all of those numbers are getting reported to the Office of Court Administration, and yes, they are looking at the numbers, and actually this past legislative session, they passed something for each judge's numbers to be reported specifically every month to make sure that the judges are closing out cases effectively too. And as far as your other part of that question, do they look at that to see if we need additional resources? Part of that is also going to your commissioner's court, keeping your own data, I would say, and going to your commissioner's court to ask for additional items or funding.
But you self-report that?
The clerk's office keeps the information, reports it to the Office of Court Administration. On our own end too, we keep information so that when we need things, we have to go to the commissioner's court to ask for it, and I have to go and say, this is where we're at, this is why I need it, and it's very important to do that.
One last question.
Yes, sir.
I didn't hear, I don't think in the tape that there's a state Supreme Court. Is that a thing? or-
There is a Supreme Court, yes, sir. There's courts of appeals, which from the county level and then from the district level, it'll get appealed there. There is, beyond that, there's a court of criminal appeals for criminal cases to get appealed to from the Court of Appeals. And then on the civil side, there is a Supreme Court where civil cases will go to. Yes, sir. Yes,
How do we
ma'am.
get information on how to volunteer here?
What specifically do you want to volunteer for?
I just wanted to see the options. Is there different courts and different times?
There's different courts, different times that they're run. So if there's something in particular that you want, you could reach out to that court and they can give you more information about specifically what you want to volunteer for and what opportunities
There's
are.
nothing online that you can see for each court?
Yes, ma'am, you can.
Okay.
There's information for each court, but I would say if you're interested in something from that court, just reach out to that court or that coordinator.
Okay.
Hmm?
Thank you.
Anybody? Yes, sir.
You're talking about mental illness. What happens in the process where you have a welfare check on a person? What's the process? Who does that and how is that handled?
It depends on who gets called out. So there are several different people that can do welfare checks. If it's someone that calls out to the police, it may be a police officer that goes out. Depending on the agency, there may be officers that are trained to do welfare checks and that have mental health training. If it's Bluebonnet Trails, our local mental health authority that's going out to do a welfare check, they definitely have the training to do it. If it is our sheriff's office and it's the crisis intervention team, our CIT team, and they go out, they will assess the person to see if they need to be diverted into, well, not diverted, I would say if they need to be taken in on a hold because they're a danger to self or others. A lot of times people think that they are, but they don't meet the criteria necessarily. So it could be several different people, really. But the best people I will tell you to, if someone is having a mental health crisis, to determine that would either be our crisis intervention team or Bluebonnet Trails because they have the training for it.
And you can call 911 and say you need mental health help, and there is somebody from Bluebonnet Trails that can take your call. So you can just call 911 and let them help you. And we have just maybe time for one more question, unless we can let the next.
Sorry.
Save some for the next judge.
Does Williamson County have a teen court?
They, the JP courts, and I believe it's Georgetown Municipal had a teen program. I know they still do, don't they? And then also JP2
And JP3.
and JP3, they all have teen courts. Okay, sorry.
Thank you so much.
And
Appreciate it.
I'm going to leave these at the table.